So now we need to take everything we've done, the low poly model, the textures that we created in Substance Painter, to Unity, to take it all into the game engine there and put it all together. So first of all, what we need to do is make sure that our model here in Blender is real world size. Because in Unity, or really in any 3D game engine, all the physics and gravity and lighting are all based on real world scale. All the calculations that are done for all of those things are based on actual meters. So we need to be sure our model here is the proper size before we take it into Unity. So I'll select the model, press the N key, and let's go see how big this is. So in the y-axis, the length of the gun, we have 9.6 meters here. So that's a little bit bigger than real world size. We need to bring that down a bit. Now I went out to Wikipedia and found some information about the M249 light machine gun here. And if I scroll down, I see that the dimensions, the length is 1,035 millimeters, which should be about 1 meter long. So we're a little bit too big right now. So let's go in here, and I'm going to move the pivot point to the center of the grid. Origin to 3D cursor, so there it is. Now I'm just going to hit the S key and scale down a bit, and you can see the y-axis going down, and I want to get to about 1.033 meters, right? There we go. That's 1.032. I think that'll probably be good enough. I'll zoom in with the period key, and there we are. So there's our model real world size. I'm going to save, and I'll also come in and apply the transformations for the scale here. We're down to 0.1 here, so I think I'll press Control A, and I'll just apply the rotation and scale to get those back to ones here. Alright, so we have our gun at real world size. Let's go ahead and export it out. I'll go to File, Export, FBX, choose Selected Objects Only. I will go to my Exports folder, and for this I'll just call this M249 machine gun. There we go. And I'll hit Export. Now that that's done, let's go take care of the textures. So here in Substance Painter, we need to export these textures out in a way that will work with our chosen game engine. So for this project, we're using Unity. So I'll go to File, Export Textures, and I'll make sure the configuration here is set to Unity 5 Standard Metallic. That's the one we want. Our textures that we'll be exporting are the albedo, the metallic smoothness, and the normal maps. The emission map is listed here, but that won't be exported with the others since we didn't create one when texturing our model. I've got my size at 2048. That looks pretty good. So it looks like it's going to the proper place here on my drive, so I'll just click Export. And it will generate those textures based on the materials that we've created here. I'll click OK, and that's done. So now let's go over to Unity. I've gone ahead and opened a new project in Unity, and all we need to do now is just drag in our files. So here is that M249 machine gun FBX that we exported out right here, and I'll drag that into the Assets folder. In addition, we need to grab our textures. Here they are here. These are the ones that we exported out of Substance Painter, and I'll select those and just drag those into the Assets folder. And here we go. So now we can just take our machine gun FBX and drag it straight into the hierarchy, and it will then pop into the center of the grid here. I'll zoom in with the F key, and here we go. So now what let's do is we'll select it, and in the inspector, let's take the material color here and take that up to pure white. When we bring in materials from programs like Blender, or any other 3D program, the material here will have a little gray to it. So I'll just take that back to plain white, and now I'll begin bringing in the various textures. I will slide this slider so I can see the actual names of them. So here is the albedo. I'll drag that into the albedo. Here is the metallic smoothness, and I'll drag that into the metallic. And here's the normal map, and I'll drag that into the normal. Now, the normal map needs to be marked as a normal map, so I'll just click Fix Now to do that. And there we go. There is our gun, and it's looking pretty good. It's got a lot of those high resolution details in there. That looks pretty nice. One thing I'd like to do is bring in an HDR image like the one we had in Substance Painter and take a look at it with those kinds of reflections. So if we go back to Substance Painter, we can see over here in the viewer settings right here that we have an environment exposure, environment opacity, and up here we have an environment map. If I click on this, you can see the different HDR image that is being used in the background here to provide some of the lighting and reflections. Now, the one we've been using is called Panorama, and that's right here. We can take a look at that by clicking and dragging on the environment opacity. We can bring that up so we can see it a little better. And then the environment blur, we can take that down a ways and we can see it plainly here now. So a lot of the lighting and reflections that we've been seeing as we've been doing our texturing have come from this HDR image in the background. I'll go ahead and take that down all the way again. So what I'd like to do is grab this panorama image and use it as an HDR image in Unity as well. But there's a couple things we need to do. First of all, we need to convert that HDR image to a JPEG so that Unity can see it. Since I'm here on a Mac, I need to go into my Applications folder and right-click on my Substance Painter application and click Show Package Contents. Now, on a Windows machine, you should be able to directly go into the Substance Painter folder. But here I'll open this up, and then in Resources, Shelf, Allegorithmic, and Environments, we should find the environment folders, and then I'll go into Exterior, and we should have Panorama here. Now, these are either EXR or HDR files, so we need to convert them. And for me, the easiest way to convert this to a JPEG is just to use convert.io. So I've just gone to convertio.co here on the internet, and I can just drag this file in. Let me grab this and just drag it right over here and drop it. And I can tell it to convert this to a JPEG and click Convert. And once it's done converting, I can then download it. And now I can take it into Unity. So here in my Downloads folder, I can just click this and drag it into Unity. And now that it's in here, we can create a cube map so that this HDR image will be used as a skybox in the background. And we'll cover that in the next video.